Ahoy, mateys! Welcome aboard my podcast. I am Jason with Jay's Paradise Travels. Appreciate you tuning in to this week's episode. Today, I'm going to talk about my experience on the Carnival Freedom. I've been on a couple cruises here in the last year, and Carnival Freedom was one of them. It's very similar to a cruise I had been on with Carnival before. Years ago, I had been on the Carnival Glory. I think that was back in 2014. They have somewhat of a similar layout. And for our honeymoon, we were on the Carnival Conquest. And that was a while ago. I can't remember the layout on there. It might have been similar to it as well. But at least with the Carnival Glory, it was a very similar layout to the Carnival Freedom. So I'll talk about that. In previous episodes, I talked about my experience on MSC. Not that I'm going to be comparing, but there might be some comparisons. Not that type of episode. Right? I'm not one to compare. That's the purpose of it. It'll happen as I talk. But in those previous episodes, I also talked about the stops that I made, and they were similar stops. So I've already talked about the stops that I've made on this cruise, going to Nassau, Bahamas, as well as their private island, which was Princess Keys. I've already talked about that, but now I actually want to talk about the cruise itself, being on the Carnival Freedom. It was a cruise that I actually had planned months ago before it, obviously, but I was actually with Carnival at the time. I don't know if I mentioned that before, but I did work for Carnival as a personal vacation planner for a while. And then eventually I left them, branched out on my own as a travel agency. Now I can represent all cruise lines. And I was with Carnival at the time that I booked it. A friend of mine, good friend of mine, him and his wife, they ended up going with us, but we had talked about it and we were going back and forth about which cruise would be good. I saw this particular itinerary in December. His wife had never been on a cruise yet. He had been on one once when he was, I believe, like 18 or 19, a young man. And he's my age. We're only a couple weeks apart. So it had been a while for him, and his wife had never gone. And they're good friends of ours. We wanted to take a vacation with them. Thus, I was looking around, found this. And for someone who is a first-time cruiser, going on a cruise that is about 5 days long could be a nice starting point. There's some that are small as 3-4 days. Then there's some that are 5, 7 going on. If you don't like it, if you end up going on a cruise and you don't like it and you hate it, if you're being stuck on there for 7 days, 10 days, or however long, might be kind of tough. But if you go on there for a smaller time frame, like 5 days, I think 5 days is a nice happy medium. 3 or 4 days you can do no problem at all. I mean, that can also be a good thing. Of course, I live in Michigan, so to travel all the way down to Florida for like a 3-day cruise or a 4-day cruise, not really worth it. I mean, it can be, but I want to go as long as possible. So to me, 5 days would kind of be like the minimum, and I was willing to do that. But that would be a good starting point for my friend. 3 or 4 days, again, can be done. I remember when I was with Carnival talking to a guy, and I always thought, why would you go on a cruise for only 3 or 4 days? Again, I'm thinking, I got to travel to do it. But a guy that I talked to when I was working with them, when I asked him how long, 3, 4 days, 5, 7, oh yeah, 3 or 4. Yeah, I can't handle more than that. And as in talking with him, because he's partying hard when he goes on that ship, getting the drink package, and he's partying hard. And Carnival definitely is the party ship; they're the fun ship. And then it dawned on me, like, okay, if you're going on there and partying hard from sun up to sundown, yeah, maybe 3 or 4 days is good. I'm not that hardcore partier. I really am not. So again, when I go on a vacation, I want to do it for a little bit longer. All that being said, this was 5 days. Nice starting point for our friends. Again, one hadn't been on one in a very long time, and the other one hadn't gone at all. And of course, my dad ended up going as well. Ended up booking all of them on this cruise. So there was 5 of us to begin with. We ended up, me, my wife, and my dad, flying down there to Port Canaveral. I have some family that live down in the area, not far from where the ships dock. In fact, I even have an aunt that works there at the dock, which is nice. So we ended up flying down there while my friends ended up driving. They stopped in Atlanta, I believe, on the way, stayed with some family there, took a couple of days to come down. But then they had the freedom to have their own car after the ship, after the cruise. They ended up sticking around, I think, a little bit longer before heading back up again. They had their means of transportation. So we met down there. Um, they came, I believe it was the day of the cruise when they did arrive. They came. We were staying with my family, and we ended up going in their car, um, and driving to the port and just parking there at the port. They do have parking there. Obviously, it costs something, and what it used to cost before, kind of went up. I want to say we probably paid around $100 to park the car there for that time frame. Didn't used to be that much, I don't think. Of course, everything's going up. It wasn't too bad though, because it was pretty much right there, and we had all our luggage with us. Now, this is the first time I didn't check luggage. So a lot of times when you go up there, they have bellhop kind of guys that take your luggage. You print out bag tags ahead of time, and when you get there, usually you can fold them, or you can staple them on there. However, you give them to them, give them a tip. They'll take them, and before you know it, eventually they'll be at your room. We didn't do that this time, and one of the reasons why was because we were parking. So we ended up all just taking our luggage on with us and going through the check-in, security, all that with our luggage. It was the first time I ever done that, and I'm glad that I did, because there's one client of mine who a little bit older, doesn't really do computers too much, and it was the whole check-in process to do ahead of time, as well as print out bag tags, is going to be very difficult for her. I did end up helping her out. I say we because there's another travel agent that I work with too, and we help each other out. But with her, we ended up helping her out. But then I remember the worst case scenario: if we can't print out her bag tags, it's not mandatory. And so if you don't have a printer or don't have a way to access a printer to be able to print out your bag tags ahead of time, it's not worst case scenario. They won't. Yeah, it's not like they're going to stop you at the ship you can't get on. You can just carry them. It'll be a little bit of a nuisance, obviously, because you're actually carrying your bag. If you have a roller bag, we've learned. I mean, we've traveled so much. We've learned to roll the bag, and put the bag on top of the roller bags, and go forward with it. And it's not too crazy. You can do that. It's not mandatory to check the bags. We didn't. This was the first time. Good to know. I wanted to share a picture though, of the ship on the outside as we were coming in. Again, we parked here, and this was the Carnival Freedom from the outside. We were behind a little gate, and I think you can see the gate. Beautiful water, they're in Port Canaveral. They've got all different cruise ships lined up. I know you can't see it in the picture, but that was our ship, Carnival Freedom. Again, very similar to one we had gone on before. Layout, I wasn't quite sure. I mean, I probably did see the deck plans, but I'm more of a in-person visual type of guy. So once I got on the ship and started walking around, I was like, oh yeah, this is very similar to what we had been on before. I had to look it up because it'd been, 10 years, maybe something like that, 9-10 years since the last time we had went on that one. We had been on the Mardi Gras in between, which I'll talk about that in another episode. But as regards to the other one, the Glory, I had to look it up. Glory, that was about 10 years ago, and it was a very similar layout. Layout is kind of interesting. I'll get into the ship itself in a bit, but just to kind of walk through what happened. So we parked the car, paid for that, brought our luggage in, and as I mentioned, my aunt actually works there, and that was the one that she was working that day. Awesome. It was cool to see her. Another friend of mine who used to live in Michigan years ago, I know him ever since I was younger, a teenager. Her and her husband moved down to Florida some years ago. Eventually moved to that area and ended up getting a job doing the same thing my aunt does. So they both work there in the port, helping check people in and working for that. Um, and what's nice is that recently Carnival had given them back the ability to go standby on the cruises, similar to what the airlines do. I was always kind of jealous of that. Not gonna lie. When I worked with Carnival, again, I was working there. They had given that privilege back, but being that I lived in Michigan, it would have been kind of hard to go all the way to Florida or wherever else they might port out of, and be standby. And if I didn't get on, have to go all the way back home. That would be very difficult. If you're there and it's in your backyard, it's a little bit easier. So my aunt got to do that. She kept looking at the availability though. It was a full ship. Cruises right now, they're going out full. Um, COVID cooped us all up for so long that now that we're free to go out again, people are just, wee, let's go. And cruise ships have been super packed. Very popular way of going on vacation nowadays. She was looking at it, kept seeing that it was full. I think even her managers were saying that it was full. But I had hope. Because I remember her telling me this before, that it feels like almost every cruise ship, they have to turn people away because people don't come with their proper documents. And just a heads up, if you come with your proper documents. Don't forget your documents, your passport for sure if you have one. If you don't, you will be okay with your birth certificate and driver's license. You have to have two things, but if not, at least one item, that passport. But people will come all the time and forget their documents, and they have to turn them away. So she told me that, and I have to try to remember to tell my clients that too. Always bring your documents instead of just safely assume that they have them. With that being said, I had hope. I was like, if that happens every cruise, someone, at least one person is bound to not come, right? I think you'll get on. So we did see her as we checked in. It was nice to be able to see her. And she had somewhat hope, I guess you could say. I think I had a little bit, maybe more hope. But either way, I think she was looking at it and wasn't quite sure. I told her to let us know, because we all were getting on. And as we were getting on, I'll share another picture. So they have opportunity to take photos. And they've got cameramen. Most all cruise lines do. They'll have cameramen that will go around, take pictures. They'll eventually print them out, or they'll do it digitally, and you can buy it that way. Either way, as you can see here, you got welcome almost aboard. This is after we've checked in. I believe we'd already gone through security at that point too, and now we're on our way. Or that could be before security. I can't remember, one of the two. But anyways, you can see you're on your way there. You can see a cameraman there taking a picture. You've got the Carnival Freedom like cutout boards there, or whatever you call them. I don't even know. So we did take a picture. I don't think we ever bought any pictures, but we had them there. And if you're into that type of thing, if you like having pictures as a souvenir, as a memento, by all means stop and take one there. There's other photo opportunities around the ship as well, especially on Captain's Night. They'll have backdrops and real pretty things. Again, pretty backdrops that you can take pictures at. You can pose for them. So that was there on our way there, and real nice. I'll share actually another picture here just to kind of give you an idea. Now this was on deck, and you can see obviously there's the movie screen, but you see like where they have the Carnival Freedom, Port Canaveral, two ladies standing there. I wasn't trying to take a picture of the two ladies. I was just trying to take a picture of the deck for purposes of sharing eventually. As you can see, though, that is something that you could do. Stand behind there, take a photo opportunity if you like that type of thing. Definitely plenty of opportunities to do that. That deck is kind of the main deck, I guess you could say, kind of the central location for the ship. And a lot of ships are like that. We got on, and one of the first things we always like to do, I know me and my dad do, we get on, go grab something to eat. It's one of the reasons I love going on cruises. I love to eat. So as soon as we get on, go get something to eat. We had all our luggage with us. And usually when you get on, depending on when you get on, your room isn't always exactly ready. There's always a turnaround time between the time it gets in, everyone disembarks, they got to clean the rooms and turn everything around, and then they, embark everybody else. That usually takes a little time. Your rooms aren't always ready. Our rooms weren't quite ready quite yet. We got some lunch, and I believe I went to the buffet. I think our friends maybe got a burger too. Whatever. We had piled all our luggage by the corner. I mean, this was like all our luggage for 5 people. We ate lunch. That was nice. And then as time went on, I was like, all right, I think our rooms are ready now. Went to the room, and it was. Our rooms were ready. We all went our separate ways and got to our rooms. I also was kind of excited that I have to look for the picture here because I want to share it with you. That I finally made gold. Uh, so with cruise lines, they kind of reward you, I guess you could say, for how many days at sea you've been with them, and the longer you go, they all have their different tiers, and they all have their different names for it. Carnival is the VIFP, the very important fun person. Um, and everyone's got something different. MSC, when we went on them, they had the Voyage Club in Royal Caribbean, something with anchor in it. Forgive me for not remembering all these names. They all have their different names. Anyways, Carnival's is VIFP, and you accumulate enough days, you get up further along. So I finally made with this cruise. I had made gold. So it starts off blue, then it goes to red, then it goes to gold. I think platinum's in there somewhere. Got a little bit to go, but there's a picture of it. Yay! So when you get your card, whatever tier you're at, that will be the color of the card. Mine's gold, and with it, you do get some perks. I know one of the things I believe I got was like a big bottle of water that came free. They might have some other things too. I don't remember all of them. I'd have to look them up. But that was nice. I'm glad I was able to get gold status. I don't think Selena has it yet. No, maybe she does. Because every Carnival cruise she's been on, yeah. So I think she has it too. I was happy about that. My dad had been gold already for a bit. So we got our rooms, and we were kind of apart for a little bit there because we were just kind of settling in. And I was trying to reach out to my uncle and aunt just to see eventually, uh, find out if they got on the ship or not. In time, I did find out that they did, which was really nice. I was really excited for them. I knew I had a feeling. I knew, and I think my aunt may have been optimistic as well. But she could see the actual numbers. I think she could, anyways, or at least her manager could. I couldn't. I just had a good gut feeling that they could get on, and they did. I was real happy about it. So all together in our party, we had 7 people. It was me, my wife, my dad, our friends, another couple, and then my uncle and aunt. So it made for a nice 7. We ended up tying all of our reservations together. You can do that for dining purposes. We had my time dining or anytime dining. Every cruise line names it differently. And with that, it's kind of like just going to a restaurant where you just go up and, hey, we have a party of 7. In our case, you might have a party of 2, 3, however many, and they're like, okay, we'll let you know when a table's ready for you, that kind of thing. So it's flexible. You don't have to be there at a certain time. You just go between a time period. And the dining room that we would go to was in the middle. There was I guess you could say in the middle, they had a few different floors that you could kind of look up and see. I know I had more pictures in this, but I was looking through my pictures to show, but I guess maybe I just didn't post them because I am not finding them, because I remember taking pictures of that area and remember taking pictures like the elevators going up and down and the decor and all that. Maybe I just didn't post them. Anyways, so have to maybe use your mind's eye. It was kind of an interesting. It was a New York themed cruise ship. The decor was kind of interesting. Anyway, so on that level, I think it was deck 5. They have live performers there, and then you can see the elevators going up behind them, and then in front of them there's a bar, and then they have a staircase that goes up to 6, goes up to 7. I believe it's 5, 6, and 7, and that's where we are. We had dinner at. We always went there. For $5, we paid. So there's a Carnival app. They mostly all have apps, and for $5, we paid to be able to chat with each other. Didn't have to purchase the entire Wi-Fi in order to do that. So for $5, we could do that. I think we all did it. My aunt and uncle may not have, but I think the rest of us did at least, or maybe they did eventually. I can't remember. So we did that. My dad and my friends did get the Wi-Fi package. Um, I don't. I'm good without it. To be honest with you, I go on vacation. I want to disconnect. I don't feel like being tied to my phone, or don't need all that stuff. If I have it, fine, but I'm not. I'm not searching for it. My wife may have. She may have did it a day or two, because you can do it whole trip. You can do it for a day or two. You can purchase different, and they have different packages with it. I didn't necessarily need, but the $5 one I did use because I wanted to be able to chat with everyone. Hey, where we're going to dinner, this and that. Communicate, because if you're not in your room, it's hard to call someone. And if you don't have Wi-Fi or service out there, it could be difficult to get a hold of people. I ended up splurging $5 and getting that. Anyways, let's see here. So we had dinner together that night, all of us. Before that, though, actually, before we ended up seeing my uncle and aunt, we did go up on deck for, I guess you could say, the goodbye party that they have on deck. I did take a few pictures of that as well. Let me go ahead and share my screen here. And that was one thing, again, with Carnival, they're the party ship. So it's not just um, a bland, blase, boring goodbye. You just go out there and wave. No, they got music. They got a party atmosphere going on. Um, you see a lot of people here on deck. No, you can't hear any music. I don't think I took any videos. Yeah, sail away. There it is. Sail away party. That's what they call it, the sail away party. I do love going on deck when we're leaving, and I love being able to wave goodbye to people as we're leaving. Whether it's the sail away party or not, no matter what cruise, I just like doing that. The fact that they do have a sail away party, and it is like a party. I mean, the DJ's going, the cruise director's there, he's dancing. Um, it does make for a more exciting atmosphere. If you like that, if that's the type of thing that you enjoy, that electric atmosphere, then you'll like this. Let me know. Be happy to book a Carnival cruise for you. j.paradise@gmail.com is my email address. You can email me, or you can reach out to me on Facebook or Instagram, Jay's Paradise Travels. No apostrophe, just JAYS. I'll be happy to do it for you. Anyways, so we had the sail away party. We were up there kind of talking. I think that's the point where we were maybe noticing that app that we could chat with each other. We weren't, as you can see, we weren't in the midst of it. I think initially maybe we were, like we were down here. And then we ended up kind of going up a few decks so that we could see a little bit more of a bird's eye. And there weren't as many people around here. There were still some people. There were some people there dancing and still having a good time where we were at, but it wasn't like we were down there in the mosh pit down there. No, just kidding. But still, lively atmosphere. I do enjoy that. That is one thing I did like about Carnival. I do like that electricity when it comes to their sail away party. It is pretty nice. We had the sail away party, and then as we're sailing, we're leaving out of Port Canaveral. I think I do have a couple of pictures of that as well. The reason I keep stop sharing, usually I would just keep going with it. I try to be mindful of. I do have some pictures that include my friends and family, and I don't know if they want to be a part of this or not. So if possible, I try not to show them, just to respect them. If they give me permission, sure, but I've never asked them, and I don't want to just do it. So that's why I keep sharing on sharing. But as we're leaving port, here are some pictures there. Port Canaveral, nice beach line, very pretty view. Another one there. And then and then later on, this was the welcome aboard show where the cruise director came out and he talked about himself, and I think he used to be one of the like a performer. They had a few people up there on stage as well, and he was very, very high energy. um, I don't want to say so much that it annoyed me. No, I don't know if it annoyed me, but it was just very high energy. Um, he was all right. He was all right. I didn't hate him. I don't know if I loved him either, but he was all right. I'll be honest, I don't even remember his name. I guess I'll talk about the entertainment. Since we're on that, the entertainment was good. I know in my previous podcast with MSC, if you listened to it, I had went on and on about the entertainment. That ended up being what was my favorite thing about that cruise, even more so than food. And I love going on a cruise for food. Love to eat. Love the delicious things you can get on a food, all you can eat, all that stuff. I did enjoy MSC's entertainment the most. And again, this isn't my purpose for a podcast is not to compare things, but it's just going to happen because I've done different things. With Carnival, their entertainment was all right. I don't remember anything that really stuck out, to be honest with you. I just remember the guy was pretty high energy, and they had some good shows. In fact, I do have some pictures of their shows here. Hold on a sec. One thing, they're pretty cool, if I remember correctly, at least on the Mardi Gras. They're like, yeah, take whatever pictures, videos you want. We love it. We love. I mean, it is publicity for them. Why not? And so this was the Welcome Aboard show. This may have been the Welcome Aboard show as well. Let me see here. I think it is. It was part of it where you got to see the dancers and singers. I guess I only took a couple. So again, nothing really stood out. Like I remember vividly things on MSC. And I get that was even more recent. That was back in February 2024. This cruise was December of 2023. But nothing really stood out as regards. I couldn't remember. And I'll be honest, I didn't go see everything either. It was only 5 days. And one of the days I remember me and my friend, we didn't think about this when we booked the cruise. It was during the weekend of the Big Ten Championship, which Michigan was in. Me and my wife, we work at Michigan Stadium. My friend, he's a big Michigan fan. We didn't even think about it. It was the weekend that was going to be the Big Ten Championship. I had thought, though, that because we're on a cruise ship and they usually have a sports bar, we could see it. No, was the case. I'll get into that a little bit. Anyways, one of the days, that was the focus. I didn't even get to see all the shows. The ones I did, I guess they were good. Again, nothing is standing out to me. So I don't know if it's something to say it was super great, but hey, it wasn't horrible. I don't remember going to a show and thinking, well, that was awful. I think it was just all right. But one night we tried to watch the Iowa game. That was the Big Ten Championship, Michigan versus Iowa. Me and that friend and some other friends ended up going to the Big Ten Championship the year before with some other friends when they played Purdue. This year they were playing Iowa. We weren't there for it, but our friends ended up going again. And so they were there for that game. It was kind of cool. I just thought, all right, am I jealous of that because they're at that, or no, because I'm on a cruise? If I'm not going to be at a Big Ten Championship game like that with Michigan in it, I guess it's, it's a good substitute being on a cruise. Anyway, so we tried watching that, but it was interesting. The sports bar couldn't get the game. It was on Fox, and I guess they couldn't get Fox. They could only get really what was on there, which was like ESPN Bahamas or something like that, right? Whatever was kind of local. They did have a game on, but there was also the SEC championship game that was going on too, which was Alabama and Georgia, big game. And then right after that was Michigan, Iowa in the Big Ten. And they had none of those. You think two of the biggest games and going on you could get, but no. And I don't think it was because they didn't want to. It was just whatever their local ESPN Bahamas or whatever they had just wasn't carrying that game. We did see, I think it was the ACC championship, was Florida State and somebody. Who were they playing? They beat somebody. Can't remember. Which, ended up, they won and we were undefeated, but then ended up getting left out because the quarterback got injured. And of course, with us as Michigan gear, my friend had Michigan gear on. I don't know if I had any Michigan stuff on, but he did. There were people cheering them like cheaters and all that. Like, all right, we're gonna hear this, whatever. But this isn't a sports podcast. This is a cruise podcast. This is just. But my experience was we were going around and people weren't happy with Michigan. Like they had anything to do with it. Wasn't like they didn't select Florida State to be in it. But whatever. I understood. I felt bad for Florida State fans at the time. You go undefeated, you still don't get in. That's a tough pill to swallow. That's in the past. And again, this isn't a sports podcast. This is just my experience. What happened? They had that. We couldn't get the game. We had to. So my friend had the Wi-Fi package. He tried live streaming it on YouTube. We kind of got that, but there was always like a box in the way. There was always a box in the way for, legal purposes, I guess, and couldn't really see it. More so I guess you could say more so we just heard the game. We could see like the outer edges, which didn't even have the game, so anyways, we did what we could with that. And Michigan did win, so good for them. So their entertainment was all right. Nothing I hated. I don't know if it was something that jumped out, something I loved. The Mardi Gras, I remember they had some good entertainment on there, but that's for a future episode. They had a Family Feud. I don't think they had Family Feud on this one, if I remember correctly, which I thought was kind of cool. Again, I'll talk about the Mardi Gras in a different episode. That was the entertainment. The ship itself, again, they had that sports bar, which was nice. I think their sports bar, their theme on that one was like more dedicated towards like heroes, veterans, and things like that. I don't know if all their sports bars are like that, but at least that one does. They did have, a decent sized ship. It's not as big as like the Mardi Gras, but I don't think it's their smallest one in their fleet either. They had a little bit of an interesting layout. I mean, some of it was pretty basic, like your deck up on top. Lido deck had the buffet, and you had the buffet and the deck kind of in one thing. A lot of food on that. The dining room that we went to on deck 5, that was one of the main dining rooms. They also had another dining room that's more in the back of the ship, along with the comedy club that I think is just a deck above it. But it's a little weird to get to. You can't just go directly to it because there's cabins and whatever. You have to kind of go up and around and down to get to it. It's kind of a odd little design, I guess you could say. They had that. When you're going from the elevators out to the deck, you could go one or two ways, and they have some art decor there. I don't know if you could necessarily buy it or if it was just there. Maybe you could buy it. I do remember that they did have like an art show. I think it was the last day we were a day at sea, because we left on a Thursday. We came back on a Monday. 2 of those 3 days in between, we had stops. We were in Nassau and we were at the private island. And then we had, I believe that was the exact order. And we had a day at sea. I think the day at sea was the last day, if I remember the itinerary correctly. So the last day at sea, I believe, is when they had that art gallery, which we kind of all went to at one point. I didn't stick around. They gave like free champagne, a free bottle, flute with champagne in it. That was nice, I guess. Didn't have to buy that drink. Stayed there for a little bit. Art's not really my thing. I think the girls stayed. where the guys ended up leaving, kind of walking around. Right next to it, they had a Bahamian type of restaurant bar next to it. I didn't eat there, but I did walk through it. And again, I could have swore I took pictures of all this stuff, that some of the stuff that I'm describing. I just must not have posted it or something. They had that, yeah, like a Bahamian type of bar or whatever you want to call it. That was cool. Um, they also do a lot of things with towels, and I'll show you a picture here. Give you an idea. They make well, they'll make like little towel animals for you on your bed, which is kind of nice. But this one right here, they did. I think this is with like their beach towels. They get some animals and the minions. It's kind of cute. Took a picture of their iconic whale's tail that they have there. You can definitely tell a Carnival ship by this thing from a long distance away. Yeah, they have that. And I guess I just didn't, I don't know. I guess I just didn't post those pictures. Oh, well, that's okay. What else did they have on the ship? They had, it was, for the most part, easy to get around. They had that art show, the comedy club I mentioned. The ship, I don't know if anything else stood out. A lot of different places to eat. And I'll talk about food. That'll be my next topic there. Delicious food. Carnival does have delicious food. One of the main reasons I love to go on a cruise is to eat. Love to eat food. And that's probably one of my favorite things about Carnival. They have a lot of options. Obviously, buffet. You're going to have a buffet. They did have a midnight buffet. I don't know if it was every night. And it wasn't like huge, but they did have it there. Some fruit and some other things to snack on. They have ice cream throughout, and they usually have that open pretty late. It's not 24/7, but they do have it. I don't know what their ice cream is made out of, to be honest with you. It almost reminds me of like ice milk. It's not bad. And my friend who went with me absolutely loves ice cream. Well, what I feel about donuts is how he feels about ice cream. I think he would eat it by the gallons if he could. And so I was joking with him. Like, I can't wait to see how much ice cream you're going to consume on this cruise, since it's free and it's there at your fingertips all the time, for pretty much most of the day. I lost track of how many times he went and how much he got. That's how much. And hey, it's his vacation. Enjoy. How often you get free ice cream all the time. Uh, he definitely took advantage of that. I did too. I mean, I think I did have some at one point, but it's not like my favorite ice cream in the world. Um, and I do love ice cream. Like it's right underneath. It's a close second behind donuts. Donuts is number one. Ice cream is a close number two. I do like ice cream. Their ice cream isn't my favorite though. And I just went on saying how much I love their food. Their food I do love, even if their ice cream's not my favorite. Anyways, they had a buffet, and not far from the buffet, they also had like a deli with cold and hot sandwiches. I remember getting a meatball sub from there. That was really good. Enjoyed that. One of the things that they have in the buffet that I guess you could say it's a little bit more hidden. I remember trying to tell a client about this place. They couldn't find it. Felt bad for them. But amongst the buffet, closer towards the back, um, not quite far back where you go past the doors, um, and get to the pizza area, which they have a 20. Is it 24 hours? It used to be. Not sure if it still is, but they have a pizza place there. Um, but yeah, before you get to that, you might see some stairs that go upstairs. Not really, like, I don't recall it being overly like a lot of signs that are showing it, but there's a barbecue place up there that you can get free barbecue, and they have like a few different sauces and a few different options what you want to get to barbecue. Went up there once. That was really tasty. And I remember later talking to that client. He's like, "Yeah, we couldn't find it. I remember you telling me about it. Couldn't find it." So if you're ever on, like, the Carnival, Freedom or Glory, there's going to be other ones too. Conquest maybe. It just depends on the ship class. Um, that they're going to be pretty similar. Like the Mardi Gras, Jubilee celebration, they're in the Excel class, and they're going to all be very similar layouts. If you're on one, you're pretty much on both. I'm going to see here. I used to have them printed out just to give you an idea here. What are the other ones? I don't know if I still do. Oh yeah, here it is. Okay, cool. Carnival Cruise Line ship by class. Might be a little older, but I don't know if you can see it. Different classes. So the Conquest, Glory, Valor, Liberty, and Freedom. Okay, it's all part of the Conquest class. So I was on the Freedom. The one I was, yeah, so Conquest and Glory, the other ones that I've been on. So I've been on 3 of the ones on the Conquest. They're pretty much going to be similar uh, design, similar layout. So you've been on one, you've been on the other ones, kind of, sort of. But they're not exactly the same. They will have like different decorations. They'll have other things, they'll have their little nuances to themselves, their little personality to it. They're not cookie cutter, but they're going to be similar layout, similar design that way. Anyways, so they had that. They have the Blue Iguana Cantina, I think it is. The Blue Iguana or Green Frog? I think it's Blue Iguana. It's a Mexican. You can get tacos, burritos. You can even get them for breakfast. I think one time Selena got breakfast there. I was going to get it, and then I decided against it because I have breakfast burritos a lot at home. When I go on a cruise, I will eat similar things that I'll eat at home, but mainly I want to eat stuff that I don't normally eat here. And I usually do have kind of things that I eat on a daily basis that are pretty much the same. Some variants here and there. But if I have it here and I have it a lot, I don't want to go on the ship and eat the same thing. Other people aren't like that. Other people, they go on, they know what they like and they want to eat that. Okay, cool. Your prerogative. Me, I want to eat stuff I can't normally eat and try different things, and I like to eat a lot of it. So I didn't get the breakfast burrito, and I think I ended up just going down to the dining room for breakfast. You can't go to the dining room for breakfast. You're not gonna, if you have an assigned dining table time for dinner. It's not necessarily. It's more open seating. Not even open seating. They'll tell you where to go, but you're not exactly sitting where you'd be sitting at dinner necessarily. In fact, they don't even have everything open. They don't always open all the dining rooms. We did go to the dining room. I remember going to the dining room for breakfast at least 3 times. On our way to Nassau, I do remember our friends weren't up yet, but me, my wife, my dad, my uncle, and aunt, we were there. I remember them coming around with a menu for like freshly pressed juices and smoothies. Looked good. I just didn't feel like buying one. I remember that. I remember us at a table. We were by the window as we're coming into port, and it had been at least a couple years since we had went on a cruise to the Caribbean. Because the year before we did the Greek cruise, and the year before that was when we were on the Mardi Gras. So it had been a couple years. And I remember sitting there thinking, wow, this is really beautiful. Just, seeing the tropics of the Bahamas and the pretty water. That was really nice. Nice way to eat breakfast, see a nice view. We were there for that. I do remember going another time, and I think that was when my wife got breakfast burrito. And I think I went with my friend, just me and my friend. We went down and had breakfast. I think I got waffles and you got pancakes or vice versa, whatever it was. And we just had breakfast, us two. And then another time at breakfast with just me and my wife. I think the other part of the party had already been seated somewhere else or something like that. And it just didn't work out that we sat together. It was just me and my wife, which is fine. We got to have a breakfast together too. Lunch kind of just varied depending on if we were on board or whatever. Dinner, we usually came together for dinner. The first 2 nights, I believe, at least, maybe even the third night, because we were a bigger party, we had 7. We got sat at the same table with the same wait staff for at least the first 2 nights, maybe the third. And they were really friendly, really nice. I remember the last night in Baked Alaska, I think I was on the last night, which is dessert. We had a different table, and they have singing and dancing kind of on that last night as like a goodbye. The waiters and the wait staff, men and women. Uh, we'll kind of do a performance. Kind of nice to see. I remember being there on the last night at that other table. Anyways, we sat down for dinner. Can't remember everything that we had, but I do remember. Again, this was after COVID. Really, things had kind of changed. I had noticed that they had their menu was a little different. They had different in the sense that I guess things had changed a little bit. They had appetizers and they had main entrees. And their entrees, normally you could get as many entrees as you want, which I loved. Love being able to sample a lot of different things. But now they capped you at 2 entrees. After that second entree, they would charge you. Didn't care for that. Didn't care for that at all. And then we went on MSC, which I've already mentioned in a previous episode. They capped you at 1, and then they would charge you, which I really didn't care for that at all. Whatever, it is what it is. I never got more than 2. I did notice though that sometimes they would have the appetizer and they would have it as an entree as well. That was the first time I'd seen that too. The appetizer, it's the same thing, but it was just a smaller portion. So appetizers, they didn't really cap you on that. If there was something that I liked as an entree, not all of them were like that, maybe 1 or 2. If I thought it looked interesting as an entree, I would just get it as an appetizer, so I at least could try it and then get, whatever entrees I wanted to. And of course, dessert too. I don't think they had a cap on that either when. Delicious food with that. I do remember it all being very tasty. I don't think there was anything that I tried that wasn't good. And I appreciated that I had others that liked sampling different things too. My aunt, she liked sampling different foods too. She was like me. And even my wife, so we could kind of share. We would, try each other's stuff. That was nice. Our friends had the pop package or the soda pack, the bubbles package. I think is what it's called on Carnival. So it's pretty much like unlimited soda. I say pop. I'm from Michigan. I say pop. Wherever you're from, listening to this, you may say something else. You may say soda. You may say soda pop. If you're down the south, you may call everything Coke. Different things. Here in Michigan, we say pop. So they had that. They enjoyed that. I didn't get any. I'm not a humongous pop drinker myself. I drink it occasionally, but they do have a drink there called Kiss on the Lips, which is my absolute favorite drink. I have to get at least get it once. I don't remember what's in it, to be honest with you. I think I have looked up the recipe before, but I've never tried making it. But anytime I go on Carnival, I got to get it at least once. I will share a story with this, a little funny story. At least I think it's kind of funny. So on our and our honeymoon cruise was so long ago. I mean, we got married in 2010, but we didn't go on the cruise until March of 2011. We went on our honeymoon a few months later. Just at the time, I was a flight attendant. Just to kind of give you an idea how nuts a schedule for flight attendant is. We got married on a Thursday. A Thursday. Who gets married on a Thursday? This guy did. And that's because I was a flight attendant. That's the day I had off. Anyway, a few months later, we went on a honeymoon. We went on a cruise. And I had gotten that was when I first tried a Kiss on the Lips. Every night I was trying a different drink. I don't drink a ton, so getting a drink package is not worth it, and they can be kind of pricey, so I don't drink much. But honeymoon, splurge a little bit. Every night I tried a different drink, and one of them was Kiss on the Lips, and loved it. I want to say there's like mango puree in there. That's one of the ingredients. Whatever else, I don't know. Anyways, sometime after that. Oh, and I bring this up because that was so long ago. To complete that thought, I don't know if I'll do an episode on that. I don't know if my memory can go that far back and remember everything that happened on our honeymoon. If I can, great. If not, I can't. But because of that, since I don't know if I'll be able to do an episode, I'm going to relate the story on this one. And again, since the previous ones I've been on, that was the Conquest, the Glory, Freedom. They're all similar, so I don't know if I need to do an in-depth on each one of those, since you kind of get an idea of it on this one. Anyway, so the story I want to relate, though, is that I got that drink. And then not long after that, at the time we lived in Texas, not long after that, we came up to Michigan to visit. My grandparents, it was a surprise to them, but my family, my mom, uncles, they were throwing my grandparents a 50-year anniversary. My grandparents are always like 50 years ahead of me and everything. My grandfather, literally to the day, is 50 years older than me. We're both born on November 6th, 50 years apart. And our marriages are 50 years apart too. So we had celebrated, or well, maybe 40. You know what? Never mind. Forget that same. Anyways, we went up there for their 50-year anniversary. And it was at a nice steakhouse. And there was a bar there. Waitress came to, take our order. And I asked them if they had a kiss on the lips. There's so many different drinks out there with so many different names. I get a kick out of them. Kind of reminds me of like the Kentucky Derby, just a lot of random names for things. And I get a kick out of it. She was like, I don't know if we have that. I'll go check with the bartender. I was like, okay. She came back. They didn't have it. Whoever it was didn't know what it was. All right, that's fine. No problem. Anyways, a couple of days later, my grandmother comes up to me, all concerned, all upset, all concerned. Jason, what is this? What is this I heard? You asked the waitress at the restaurant for a kiss on the lips? No, that's not what it sounds like. Yes, I did, but that's not, it was a drink. No, that's what it was. I still get a kick out of that story to this day. Kiss on the lips. No, I wasn't asking the waitress for a kiss on the lips. Literally, I was asking for a drink. Anyways, but despite all these years later, because that was in 2011, we're in 2024 at the time of this recording. I don't know when you'll be hearing this, but all these years later, they still had that drink. And I definitely got one. Loved it. I only got one. I don't think I got multiple, other days. I think I just got the one. Selena may have gotten one too, or she might have gotten something else as well another night. Can't remember. Anyways, the food was really good in the dining room. The food was really good. The deli, the sandwich that I tried, I think at least the meatball sub that I had was really good. They had like a wok, where you can put like whatever you want them to cook in the sauce, and then they kind of make it for you. That line though, boy, when we first got on there, it was a long line, and it probably takes you like an hour to get through it, because they got to cook it, and one at a time. It's gonna each one takes a few minutes or so to do. So I believe I remember seeing my uncle get that right, kind of right away. He waited for it. I didn't. I ended up getting that. So we went to Nassau the next day, I think it was. And we came back midway through, ended up getting lunch there. And not a lot of people were on the ship. They were out in the Bahamas. Because there was less people there, I was like, well, here's the time to go do it. So I went to go do it. There was only maybe a couple people in front of me. Even with that, I still waited probably 15, 20 minutes. I would say 10 to 20 minutes, something like that, in order to get it. It was worth it though. It's very good. Very good. I don't know if I'm going to wait super long for it, especially when there's so many other food options and, plenty of stuff to do. I don't want to take forever. So I don't know if it was a long line, if I would wait that long for it. But if it's a shorter line, yeah, it was definitely delicious. There's that. Let's see here. The last thing that I'll give a shout out to that is absolutely delicious. My favorite thing to eat there was Guy's Burgers. Guy's Burgers there's different ones that you can do, and they have different toppings, different sauces and everything, and their fries come with it. Their fries are really good as well. And for like a napkin, you have like what looks like a rag, like what a car mechanic would have like in his back pocket. It's kind of like that. I think it has that style. I think Guy Fieri, he's big into cars, so I think that's why he kind of designed it that way. Anyways, the burgers though are absolutely delicious, and normally I do like to have stuff on my burger. That one I am actually fine with it being plain. It just the plain burger. is just amazing, absolutely amazing. Um, so, for people that go on Carnival, some people go on Carnival just to go, just to get Guy's Fury Burger. Uh, my uh, my aunt, she loved it too. I remember she was telling me, because sometimes they'll, as like a perk of working for the company. I remember we had the ability to, when I worked at Carnival, you could do what was called like a ship visit, and get to go on there during that time that they came in, unloaded people, and that few hour of turnaround time before they leave out. Employees, if you got to book it ahead of time, obviously, but can go on there and enjoy lunch and enjoy the ship. Um, so I know she would go. The time that she got to do it, she would like to do get Guy's Fury Burger, and I know I love it. They're absolutely delicious burgers. Um, definitely worth trying. If you haven't been on Carnival, I would think that would be one reason just to try them too. Let's see what else here. They had a couple slides too. I did get to try one day. I think it was on the private island day. I came back in front of before my friends and family came on, and I was already in my bathing suit since I was at the beach. Not really a beach guy, but I was actually on the beach that day. But I figured I'll try this. I'll try the slides. There's a couple of them. I think I tried one. Did I try both? Maybe. That was kind of fun. As many people were there. They have an outdoor theater screen. I think I saw that show that earlier. You know what? Why not? Maybe I'll just show it one more time here if I can find it. Sifting through these pictures. If I can find it, I'll show it to you here. Oh, kind of went away. No, never mind. Never mind. But yeah, they had those. They had a theater. I can't remember what movies they'd shown. I don't think we ever sat and watched any. I think our friends maybe did one night. I have before in the past. I remember I saw Iron Man 2 once. The previous one was when my mom was with me. I think that was on the Carnival Glory. Did we watch anything on Conquest? Now I'm trying to think of those past ones, since I don't know if I'll do an episode on, maybe relate whatever I could remember. The one with the Carnival Glory was just me, my wife, and my mom. My dad was in Greece. Still to this day is kind of bothered he wasn't with us on that. I was like, "You were in Greece." Doesn't matter. We went on a cruise without him. He'll still bring it up a couple and razz me about it a couple, to this day sometimes. Trying to think if there's anything else of note on this cruise ship here. We had a nice time. Definitely had a nice time. Got to enjoy it. This was the first time going with friends. Uh, Previous one, most of our cruises was just with my parents. The Greek cruise before that, which again, other episodes, went with family. That was the first time going with not just my parents, but this is the first time friends, in addition to family, were with me. It was really nice being able to go with them. They seemed to enjoy it. Um, it was just a 5 night cruise. That's kind of like, I'd rather not do 5 nights. I'd rather do at least 7. Again, if I'm going to travel all the way from Michigan to wherever, we don't have cruises going out of Michigan. If I'm going to go to, even the closest thing would probably be like New York, which is still a 10-hour drive. That might be the closest one of where a port might be. But if I'm going traveling to go somewhere, I want to make it worth it. So I will do 5. It'll be kind of my limit, or not my least, the least amount of days. My minimum amount of days, whatever, you know what I'm talking about. I don't want to do, unless it was like free or something, maybe I would do 3 or 4, or it was some unbelievable deal. Um, but yeah, 5 would be, but again, as I mentioned, if it's your first time going on a cruise, that's a good starting point. That way you still get to the feel of it without getting off the ship right away. And I think maybe why, again, 3 or 4, well, it takes you a couple days to at least get to know the layout and get comfortable with the ship. Ships, even if they're not the newest and hugest, they're still good sized ships. It's not like it's this tiny little yacht. They're still good size. And to figure out the layout of where everything is, um, the elevator system, where the elevators are at, all that stuff. It's all kind of part of it. To I figure by the time you kind of get the layout of the land, it's time to go home. It takes a few days. So if you do 3 or 4, by the time you get it, you're gone. 5 days, because I had been on that ship of similar layout before, it didn't take me as long, and I had mentally prepared for 5 days. I guess that kind of helped too. But yeah, if I can, I definitely want to go on longer than that. So, anyways, if what I mentioned to you sounds appealing to you, you want to try a Carnival cruise or go on the Carnival Freedom, let me know. Again, you can reach out to me through email, j.paradise_travels@gmail.com. It's not J's, Jay, .paradise_travels@gmail.com. Or you can reach out to me through Instagram and Facebook. That one is Jay's Paradise Travels with an S, no apostrophe. Jay's Paradise Travels. Yeah, look me up, and please feel free to like, rate, subscribe, 5-star review, share, all that good stuff that us podcasters need in order to keep our podcast going. Definitely helps, and we definitely appreciate it. So thank you again for listening, and look forward to talking with you guys another time. Take care. Bye-bye.